In May of 2020, something unbelievable happened in the world of film. After a viewing party of Man of Steel hosted by its director Zack Snyder, he made a huge announcement to the world that the long-fabled Snyder Cut of the Justice League was going to be unleashed sometime in 2021 on HBO Max. What had just started out as a fanboy meme of #ReleaseTheSnyderCut had become a reality. Director's cuts are not uncommon, but usually they're associated with highbrow prestige films that get Criterion Collection releases. Like take for example Blade Runner, which had 7 separate film cuts released. But the release of the Snyder Cut for the Justice League is very interesting because it's a new version of a film that mostly people didn't like. A film that had been significantly gutted by a major studio that was constantly seeking to course correct in order to compete with Marvel. So join me as we take a look at the strange new paradigm in the world of blockbuster entertainment that is being brought to life now that the Snyder Cut is finally going to see the light of day.
Fine, but if it sucks, we're watching Family Guy.
You gotta love so you got it back yet. Love turns into time, don't you grab it.
So to understand the Snyder Cut, we need to go back to understand the Justice League movie of 2017. Justice League had a famously very troubled production. Originally billed as the counter towards the much more poppy and jokey Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DCEU was represented through the prism of the much darker, brotastic Zack Snyderverse. While he wasn't technically the Kevin Feige figure who controlled everything in the DC extended universe, the fact that he directed Man of Steel, which served as the flagship starting point for the whole endeavor, put him in a figurehead position of setting the tone and pace for everything that came after. But while Man of Steel set the tone for the rest of the universe, it wasn't a tone that everyone particularly liked. Zack Snyder had created an objectivist Superman, someone who instead of embracing humanity, always kept himself at arm's length away from it, and was largely scorned by the Earth's populace with the exception of Amy Adams, because at least he could have bathroom sex with her. And the film was met with a great deal of controversy for the huge amounts of collateral damage, which was like 9/11 times 11.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
But instead of course correcting, Zack Snyder doubled down in his Man of Steel follow-up, Batman vs. Superman, creating the ultimate grim dark parable on the nature of power and morality, while also trying to adapt the death of Superman and the Dark Knight, and launch the Justice League movie and set up subsequent spin-off movies featuring all the respective Justice League characters. It was trying to be a lot of things to a lot of different people, and it was considered to be a big disappointment. It grossed $873 million, but it cost nearly $300 million. It was supposed to be the big breakout hit that made $1 billion, but it was critically lambasted and didn't have the same momentum as an Avengers-level hit that Warner Brothers and DC needed. This is where we saw the course correction begin to take place. The Suicide Squad, which was originally meant to be a much darker, was completely re-edited by a company that edits movie trailers. You can get a sense of the difference in tone by just comparing the first release trailer to the Blitzkrieg bop that came after.
We're some kind of Suicide Squad.
Let's go save the world.
Let's do something fun.
In the end, there were 2 cuts of Suicide Squad, and the David Ayer cut and the rejiggered one meant to be more fun that was made by the editing studio was the one that ultimately landed in theaters. Even the Justice League saw a level of course correction. Journalists were invited to the set of the Justice League in a PR move to assure them that it wasn't going to be as dark and brooding as Batman vs. Superman. Rumors swirled that behind the scenes there was nothing but turmoil. Reports leaked that Zack Snyder had been fired as early as January or February in 2017, but the unfortunate death of his daughter gave him a PR-approved reason to officially step away from the production. Joss Whedon was brought in to cobble together some reshoots and get the film ready for wide release, but this was not the movie that was originally intended. Kevin Smith, who was visiting the studio in London where their shooting was taking place for the Justice League, got a chance to see some storyboards for what the movie was supposed to be.
I know what happened. Ooh. Yes. I met people who worked on both versions of Justice League. Ooh. This is what I heard about Justice League, according to folks that worked on both versions. They saw Jim Lee breakdown boards for all 3 Justice League movies.
Really?
First movie was kind of what we saw. fighting Steppenwolf, beating Steppenwolf. Then, like, the fucking boom tube opened up, and they saw Darkseid, and Darkseid saw them. There was a mini scuffle or not, depending on who you're talking to. Boom tube closes, that's the end of the fucking movie, with them all knowing there's something out there and we have to go. Justice League 2 was going cosmic as they take the fight to Apocalypse and New Genesis, presumably, but we know Apocalypse. And the Lantern Corps was involved.
What was the third movie?
The third movie was 2 ends poorly, like Empire Strikes Back or Infinity War. So they go to space and get fucking defeated, and Darkseid goes to Earth and levels it. So the vision that Batman had in Batman v Superman, like, you know, of the fucking scorched earth. Which one was that? Was it BVS or? Yeah. Yes, where he saw the fucking scorched earth and
Parademons and all that shit.
That was going to be the entire third movie, the hero's last stand against Darkseid and the forces of Apocalypse. Holy fuck! And then it went away. So it went from 3 movies to 2 to now just the one.
1 to half a one. So what exactly are fans getting with the Snyder Cut? They're getting the beginnings of a story that will never reach its natural conclusion, a potentially 4-hour commercial that's designed to entice them for the next product.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
So this is where we get to the interesting paradox of the Snyder Cut. This isn't some avant-garde piece of cinema. This was meant to be a preamble for a larger story, a teaser for a bigger production to come later. An epic, dark superhero trilogy. The first one to set the stage and introduce the larger villain of Darkseid. The second film would be The Empire Strikes Back, where the heroes take the fight to him in Apocalypse. And a final film would have been set in an apocalyptic wasteland that was glimpsed in Batman's dream in Batman vs. Superman as the heroes make their final stand. If I were to compare it to what Marvel's done, I'd say Justice League was designed to be their Captain America Civil War, with Justice League 2 being their Infinity War, and the third film being their Endgame. So what exactly are fans getting with the Snyder Cut? They're getting the beginnings of a story that will never reach its natural conclusion, a potentially 4-hour commercial that's designed to entice them for the next product.
Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
So what's the reward in seeing the setup for something that will never come? To see the real vision for something that was only designed to be the starting point for the continuity that has largely been rejected by the mainstream public. What makes it even more baffling is the prospect that what does this all mean to a mainstream normie audience? What the hell is even going on with the DC films? What is the continuity? Is the current more family-friendly Marvel-like DC films the main DCEU? Or is there a chance that if the Snyder Cut is successful enough, we'll somehow see a return to the Snyderverse with the Justice League getting the sequels that were originally intended? What about the Joker, the dark film that technically isn't affiliated with any continuity? Are we now going to see a wave of dark, grounded superhero films made for low budgets with prestige actors? Does the common person know the difference between the Jared Leto Joker and the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, or do they think that it's the same person? I, as an intrepid reporter, went out to talk to the common man to see what they think the DCEU is right now.
It's Batman's the sprinkly vampire guy now, right?
I don't understand the question.
Oh, so who's playing Batman right now?
I haven't have a clue. I don't know.
I don't really, I remember growing up watching the original Batman, the first 2 Batmans from the 80s and 90s. And then all of a sudden, the third one, I think Val Kilmer's Batman, right? Mm-hmm. So, I expected, I've lived long enough to expect Batman to change up quite a bit. From Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer, that was a big jump.
Batman, wait, what do you mean by that? When it comes to DC and Marvel, for my take on it, from what I hear from people chatting, is DC is more adult and Marvel is more like PG-13. That's my only concept I have of DC.
He's gonna be 20 years old or 20 or 30 years old.
Nah, I feel like that's crazy. They should have kept the same Batman going on, because I don't feel like that's not right. It can't be like that. It's not like no Back to the Future type of thing.
Is that supposed to be in the same continuity as what the fuck is going on with DC?
Is Cable in the Justice League?
Go on, who else is in the Justice League?
Like, I love that movie so much. I watched it like 5 times.
So you love the Joker movie?
Yeah.
But did you like Suicide Squad?
So, yeah, I just liked it because of the Lady Joker.
Oh, Harley Quinn?
Yeah, Harley Quinn, there you go. And the thing, I relate too much with them because my doctor diagnosed me with schizophrenia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and most of them have that disorder.
And then it's a twin little Batman. It's somebody make the clone of him. He really bad version of him.
Wait, what? I want to hear more about this twin Batman.
He's like evil. Somebody created like an evil version of the kid, but it's not really it's not really Bruce Wayne, but it's an imposter Bruce Wayne. So somebody kidnapped Bruce Wayne and sent a fake Bruce Wayne to the family.
And they're following the money. They're probably looking at a dark DC universe.
He wants to come back to the mansion, and they slowly but surely realizing that it's not little Bruce because he just doesn't act like little Bruce.
Well, now it makes me interested in watching the first version to see what kind of shit show they had for the fans. And
in real life, like I said, his parents get killed in the beginning coming out of a nightclub or something, and he witnessed it, and they tell a story back and forth, keep coming back and forth, and him and the bodyguard, what's the bodyguard guy live with him? Alfred, him and Alfred wind up getting into a fallout. He leave the house and run away to be with the girl and to be in the streets.
I feel like Avengers, they took their time and like they knew what they was going for. With Justice League, they just threw all the comics together and just made it into a movie.
You're so interested, like I'm interested in the fact that they have a 3-hour, damn near 4-hour cut of a movie. You know what I mean? Point of even announcing that there's a Snyder Cut is for cats like myself who, you know, enjoy superhero movies, but maybe just didn't have the opportunity to see the DC Justice League movie.
Yeah, they should have just did what they did for the Avengers. Like, if you're gonna make a new Batman, like you could bring Nightwing into it or something. Or like you can't bring a new Batman and just make him like 30 years younger.
It's an absolute nightmare in terms of branding, and there's no clear distinction in terms of what's connected and what isn't. It feels like the idea of a cinematic universe is kind of being thrown out the door because there's no cohesive plan to string one together. There are just things people like, and if people like them enough, they'll make more of them. But that's the thing, most people didn't really like Justice League. They weren't clamoring for more. At best, it got a passive shrug of, that's alright, but a vocal minority who spent the past 3 years hounding to see the fabled Snyder Cut kept pushing to see the dark, mature vision of everyone's favorite DC heroes validated in the blockbuster tentpole format was the ultimate goal, and after 3 years of hashtag release the Snyder Cut, they were finally vindicated. But the ultimate irony is that the Snyder Cut didn't exist. Zack Snyder is getting $20 to $30 million to finish his cut of the film, revealing that while the footage might exist, it was not close to being completed in a working function at all. In many respects, the Snyder Cut never existed in any functional sense. If anything, the Snyder Cut of the Justice League feels like the classic scene from A Christmas Story where Ralphie gets his little orphan Annie's secret decoding ring. He's super excited as he gets his official certification, thinking he'll be granted the secrets of the universe as he has an essential decoding ring to unveil the secret meaning of life. And after the end, he decodes the long-awaited message only to find out it's this.
Yes. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
A commercial. That's ultimately what the Snyder Cut is. A 4-hour commercial for 2 more films that will never ever come. But at least from a business standpoint, it makes sense. The Snyder Cut is something fanboys say they want. $20 to $30 million is probably cheaper than 8 to 10 episodes of a new prestige TV series, and it's rumored to be around 4 hours and cut into parts. Ultimately, the Snyder Cut is just a very expensive commercial to help drive HBO Max subscriptions. And that is the ultimate strange paradigm of the Snyder Cut. It's a meme begging for the restoration of a true artist's vision, but that vision is ultimately just a corporate product designed to reinforce consumption. And maybe you could say, cynically, that's what all major studio cinematic universes are at this point. $200 million commercials for other $200 million commercials. But as cynical as that may sound, at least the MCU brings you there for the characters, and that is the ultimate reason why you keep coming back. And Warner's is starting to learn that lesson, albeit very, very slowly. But for you, hashtag release the Snyder Cut fanboys, you've won the day, you've made $1 billion corporation bend to your whims, but at the end of the day, just remember, you better be ready to drink your Ovaltine. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's been a bit of a content drought for these past few months, since I have not posted anything because I've been in the midst of a big move, but now that that move is finished, the content may flow like wine and spice. So expect this and many more stuff as I get into the groove of making stuff again. What better way to celebrate my return than giving a special thank you to my patrons? These are the fine ladies and gentlemen who keep the lobster pot boiling. They keep the content going. I could not think of a better way to thank them than showing them as DC heroes who get brutally murdered in an R-rated animated movie. So again, thank you, Joseph Malty, Aaron Toney, Carla Hoffman, Walking the Steps, Walter Street, Jabari, the Shonen Ronin, and Eric Duquesne. You are the real heroes. Thank you for supporting me even during my content drought. I certainly hope this video and all the ones I will make in the future will make up for it. You guys are the real MVPs. Thank you so much. You are also welcome to join them. The Lobster Pod is always welcoming to new patrons. But if you want to support the channel, just do the things that Hypnotoad tells you. All hail Hypnotoad. Thank you for watching the video, and remember, lobsters and tennis, but don't you grab it.